Hello viewers, my name is Pawan Krishna. In this video, we are going to learn about new developments of intellectual property. Before we get into the lesson, I just wanted to let you know that intellectual property rights has more than 200 years of history. Since its birth, society has been undergone many of the changes. In order to fit into this society, there are many developments that happened since its birth. So let us look into what are the new developments that happened in trademarks law. The internet. Trademark owners throughout the world are struggling with new issues presented by increased electronic communication, primarily that occurring through the internet. The internet derives from a network set up in 1970s by the Department of Defense to connect military and research sites that could continue to communicate even in the event of nuclear attack. In the 1980s, the National Science Foundation expanded on the system, and its first significant users were government agencies and universities. In the early 1990s, however, it became apparent that the system could provide a global communication network allowing people from all over the world to talk with each other, send written messages, pictures, and text to each other, and establish web pages to advertise their ware and provide information to their customers. So basically what exactly this particular section speaks is the origin of internet. And first and foremost, what we need to understand is in this current society scenario, it's been very difficult to provide intellectual property rights, provide and also protect them, because the society has developed several advanced communication devices through internet. Basically, internet is created in 1970. It was basically designed for military systems itself, military research sites that were connected. The only motive of this particular network was to communicate each other even in the attack of nuclear weapons. In the 1980s, the National Science Foundation, which is made this internet, is available for several universities. In the 1990s, now this internet was widely available throughout the world for many of the services in order to share their pictures, views, text, and several other things, and many of the companies started using internet to solve their customers issues. Assignment of domain names. A company's presence on the internet begins with its address or domain name. Not only serves as a locator for a company, but also functions as designation of origin and a symbol of goodwill, which is a trademark. So there are certain kind of domain names which work as the trademark for certain businesses. For example, in order to identify authenticity of a company, it's mandatory to have a domain name on internet nowadays. With the help of the domain name, people, I mean to say the customers, will have the designation of origin and a symbol of a goodwill. And these domain names are also serving as the trademarks for several businesses. There are two portions to a domain name. The generic top level domain, which is the portion of the name to the right of a period, such as .gov or .com. And the secondary level of domain, which is the portion of the name to the left a period, such as craftincraft.com. So for example, if you speak about www.gmail.com, now this right side of the portion, that means after the dot you say .com, and for certain kind of websites such as JNTUH AC.in. Okay, and if it is, why it is AC? Because it's related to the academics. For example, if you are accessing a government organizations, then the ending will be .gov.in if it is Indian related government, and if it is United States related company or the government related website, then it will be gov.us, and most of the websites go with .com, and it depends upon the owner whatever the domain he wanted to take. If it is a private one, for the government it will be obligated to have gov dot whichever the country it is serving the purpose for. And the secondary level of the domain, which is the portion of the name to the left of a period. You can clearly see the example here: craft and craft.com, amazon.com. So this is left side of it. It is also very important. Disputes frequently arise between owners of registered mark and owners of domain names whose domain names similar or identical to the registered marks. What exactly it means is there are people who is going to learn that whatever the company they are running in, whatever the name they have for their business, there will be different people who will have the website, and these both owners are not same. For example, if I would like to start a company on the name of golf.com, for an example, and I have started the company, I'm successfully running, but on the internet, there will be a person who already have the domain name golf.com, which is not mine. Now it is a problem for me in order to run the business. So these are all the kind of disputes that happens to have the domain names. Internet Corporation for assigned names and numbers. So there is something has been established which name is ICANN, which stands for Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, to help resolve the problems in the domain names registration and use process. So if there are any kind of issues in the registration procedure and the process, then this particular thing is going to, our entity is going to resolve the issue. The government created the ICANN. So none other than the government of United States created this entity which is called as ICANN. It is non-profit corporation. It is governed by board of directors elected in part by various members of the internet community. So it is not going to be run by only single entity or single person as a director. It will be run by many of the directors elected in the part of various members of the internet community. Internet is very vast. These directors can be elected from anywhere from it. ICANN are authorized to register domain names ending with .com, .org and .net. .com always refers to community, .org organization, .net is for network. So all these extensions will deal with ICANN. Registrations usually last 1 year, at which time they can be removed or will expire. So once a business person registers their domain with ICANN, it will be lasting for 1 year. Thereafter, they'll have the facility of renewing it, or else it's going to be get expired, or else if there are some kind of illegal activities are happening on the network, then it will be removed. Registration requires representation that the person seeking to register the name is not doing so for an unlawful purpose and does not know of any infringements. So the person whomever approaching to get this domain name registered, he should declare that he is not doing any unlawful things so far, as well as he is not going to do that by using this registered domain name. That is very important. ICANN recently added 7 new top level domains including .biz and .info. Protecting a domain name. So let us see how people protect their domain names. People register well-known marks as domain names to prey on the consumer confusion by misusing the domain name to divert customers from the legitimate mark owner's site. This practice is commonly called as cyber squatting. So if you would like to open google.com, what happens if you mistype Google? A spelling mistake, a typo error. Similar kind of website will be listed. In the same way, there are many of the companies, genuine companies, if they are misspelled on the internet, the different kinds of website will appear as similar as the same or original websites, so that customers might get cheated. If a person, for example, there's a website which is Amazon, who sells the most authentic and loyal services to the customers. Now there will be a person who is going to create a similar website with a small spelling change in the Amazon. So if a person misspells while he's typing about amazon.com, and it will lead to the fraud website, and it's going to look as authentic as the Amazon itself. So customer might mistake it to the amazon.com. He's going to start ordering it, and thereafter eventually he get cheated. So these kind of practices are called cyber squatting. There are three approaches for against cyber squatter. An action can be brought under the Federal Trademark Dilution Act. So there are the three kind of approaches are there for the people who practice this cyber squatting thing. So first one is action can be taken against the Trademark Dilution Act. Next one is a civil suit can be instituted under a recent Anti-Cyber Squatting Consumer Protection Act. So first one is Trademark Dilution Act, second one is Consumer Protection Act, and third one is an arbitration proceeding to be instituted through ICANN's disputes resolution process. So there's just a few minutes ago we learned about ICANN. So even those people are going to prosecute these cyber squatters and make sure that they'll be penalized for whatever the things that they have committed to. Cyber squatter and the dilution doctrine. Doctrine is nothing but set of rules. Okay, so cyber squatter and the dilution doctrine. Federal Trademark Dilution Act, which was mentioned in 15 United States Code 1125. Cyber squatters and Anti-Cyber Squatting Consumer Protection Act is mentioned in 15 United States Code 1125D. These are the section names. Anti-Cyber Squatting Consumer Protection Act. To prevail in civil action under ACPA, a plaintiff must prove three things. Number one, the plaintiff's mark is distinctive or famous mark deserving of protection. The alleged cyber squatter infringing domain name is identical or confusingly similar to plaintiff mark. The cyber squatter registered the domain name is bad faith. So these are the three things that he need to prove to the court. Who? The plaintiff. Now let us understand what is the meaning of plaintiff. Plaintiff is a person who goes to the court claiming that somebody is misusing his domain or domain named trademark. Once he goes to the court, he need to prove the court that the defendant means the person who is misusing plaintiff's domain name, or which is similar to domain name of the plaintiff, that both domain name is looking very similar and they are confusing. That is the first one. Second one is the plaintiff must prove that his trademark is deserves protection. That means in consumer market his trademark should be little famous. People need to recognize it. He need to prove that to the court. That's when his trademark or the domain name is going to be get protected. Finally, The cyber squatter registered the domain name is bad faith. What is who is cyber squatter? The person who is copying his domain has registered the domain name purposefully to do some kind of tampering with his business. If these three things are proved to the court, then the plaintiff always have the advantage over the defendant. Resolving disputes through the Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy. So there is something called as Uniform Domain Name Dispute Resolution Policy, which is called UDRP, which came into the Act 1999. The allegedly wrongful domain name is identical or confusingly similar to the complaint's trademark, as we already discussed. So the plaintiff need to prove that this whatever the wrongful act has been done to his domain is purposefully happening, and he need to prove that his trademark is similar to the person who is defending the case. The domain name registrant has no legitimate interest in the domain name, and the domain name is being used in bad faith. Yeah. So the person who registered similar kind of domain name has really do not have any use of it, and he's not doing any valuable business to that, and he clearly have only purpose that in order to tamper the business of the plaintiff, he registered the domain name. If he proves that, even UDRP is going to save plaintiff.